Hi, I'm Piyush, and I'll be presenting a piece of work that we've been working on since the past year called Bird Collisions with Buildings in India, a synthesis of current knowledge. My co-author is Ashwin Vishwanathan, and we acknowledge the help from Neha Panchamiya Rescue Pune, Jayanti Kalam, ARRC Bangalore, and Asmita Patwardhan. So the story actually literally starts with a thud. Yeah, actually not dramatic enough the way I described it, but I was sitting in a common dining space in Honey Valley in Coorg. This is over 10 years back, and we were shocked by something that we thought was equivalent to the building collapsing. Half the people ran out. I moved instinctively towards the source of the sound, and I saw this imprint on the window. And I stepped out to see this. A beautiful emerald dove, dead instantly. High-speed collision, terrible death, and terrible experience. And all the more shocking because when you look at the building, which was the source of its death, it looks like a very simple, straightforward local building. And the bird actually hit into the glass panes on the left. So this, in a way, this set me thinking, but didn't really get into anything for very long with the Global Bird Rescue Week last year serving as a trigger. The question is, why do birds crash into glass? The birds don't see the world as we do. The reflection in the glass or the fact that it's see-through gives them an impression that they're flying into open space. This is actually a very large problem, not so much so in India, or at least we don't know of it, but up to 1 billion birds are supposed to be dying every year in the United States alone. And interestingly, about 44% up to 3 stories height, and another 56% from 4 to 11 stories, basically meaning that high rises per se, or at least the lower floors, are the ones that really play a role. And of course, everyday buildings like the one we saw in Coorg. What is the magnitude of the problem for India? So the fact is that we are presenting here today the first piece of work that has been done for India. And the magnitude may not seem large, but that's primarily because it's barely studied. Now, interestingly, we have a lot of data points for birds in India. eBird is 25 million data points in India alone and growing exponentially every day. So we basically decided to use existing data on social media like Facebook, citizen science portals, and we use words like thud, crash, pane, window, facade, dead, injure. And we also got data from Rescue Pune and ARRC Bangalore. So all this put together, we came across 112 observations covering 51 species, which is about 4% of India's bird diversity. And there are bird collisions all over. The map basically has a bias towards where there are maximum data points in the country. But there are bird collisions all over is what we think. There are also rare species like the Malayan night heron and the rufous bellied eagle, the broadbill, amongst other more common species. Most collisions in North America are during migration, whereas in India, other than 2 species, we don't really see any seasonal pattern as such. For these 2 species, which is the black-backed dwarf kingfisher and the Indian pitta, which comprise 23% of the total collisions, there clearly is autumn migration period where the collisions are maximum. How does this compare with results from other parts of the region? There's a very good study from Singapore, and there are some similar trends. Autumn migration is the time when species of pitta and dwarf kingfishers are worst hit. And interestingly, most of these readings come from a pre-skyscraper Singapore. And so re-emphasizes that it's often buildings at a lower height which play a very important role in bird hits. A quick case study from Pune. At the edge of Pune, a growing city, birds slam into a glass which defines the urban parapet. And Asmita decides to find a solution, comes across something interesting in the form of silhouettes in grease, and ends up with decorative glass film and solves the problem. Now, the basic thing that worked, which Asmita was not aware of, is the 2x4 rule, which was published way back in 1990, which basically says that birds will find that the glass panes are obstructions if there is something at 2 inches interval horizontally or 4 inches interval vertically. And there are some products here in the images that you can see that are found in the West, bird tapes and other products. Internationally, work has been happening for close to 30 years now. And you can see that there are standards now in certain countries like Canada and the US. And there are also important steps being taken by large city councils like New York. So this is finally making some impact in the West. Now, the question here is the incidences that we came across in 2012, are they isolated or are they part of a larger phenomenon? We find that while remote rural and the urban fringe that seems to coincide with bird-rich areas, does it indicate that the urban core actually has already lost all the species that are prone to bird hits? The determining factor definitely seems to be the increased use of glass, but perhaps in areas where glass was not found earlier. Unless there isn't greater awareness of the problem and a clear implementable solution that is aesthetically acceptable, the problem is likely to grow. Join us. Bird watchers play an important role, and they can even in this. You can report bird collision in eBird by typing #birdhit. We've got a iNaturalist page up there created for bird collisions. We currently just have 7 readings, and please come on board and help increase the number of readings. And importantly, just around the corner from the 27th of September to 3rd of October is the Global Bird Rescue Week. Bird Count India is leading the effort in India. Join us, which for birds that are found dead, unfortunately, or injured from bird hits. And I can assure you that this is really a space where a lot of work needs to be done, and it's not a completely hopeless situation. We can find solutions. We already have solutions globally. And I would like to end on a positive note. This is actually an image that I took off Facebook from the page of Madhurima Das, who reported a bird hit. And actually, after taking care of the bird and allowing to get some rest, the bird actually flew away. So it's not completely a lost case, but we need more data. Thank you very much on behalf of Piyush, Ashwin, Neha, Jayanti, and Asmita. Thank you. Goodbye.